Hi everybody, James here again. Welcome to, what are we, week 11 now? We're going over unit 11 this week. Time seems to be going by very quickly. Today we're going to work on unit 11. You've completed your final essay, hopefully, and now we're just going to really finish out the semester with unit 11 and 12. Today we're going to work on unit 11 and focus on your oral presentation. And as I stated last week, your oral presentation, your persuasive speech, is going to be due by June 14th at 11:59. And one more thing that I want to add is your oral presentation manuscript is due the week before your oral presentation, or before you post your oral presentation. So this manuscript is basically your persuasive essay. So in this situation here, if you do change a little bit of your persuasive essay to use for your speech, you'll need to basically just re-upload it. So again, your oral presentation is your persuasive essay. Okay, your persuasive essay, and you're going to use your persuasive essay, your assignment for your persuasive speech. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. Your Smart Choice Practice Extra Credit Units 7 through 12. Okay, that is February 26th. Okay, at 5 p.m. And then one more thing for your news, your CBT exams. Okay, if you need more information about your CBT exams, I think registration has already opened for the CBT exams. So if you need more information about that, you'll need to go to the CUL EDU website and look at the information there. And I think all the information is there for you to sign up, register for your classes, register for your exam at the date and the time that you would like. So just keep in mind your information is going to be here at this website, and when you go to this website here, you'll see that there's information down at the bottom, and it'll give you detailed information in Korean, of course, um, on your CBTs. Okay, so please note also that this is your responsibility, okay, to register and take the exam. Okay, so make sure that you sign up, make sure you attend the exam period that you chose, and please don't forget to do that, because this is very important for your grade. Your midterm and your final is a total of 40% of your grade, so please don't forget to take the exam and take it at your time. Okay, all right, you guys, that's it with that. So I'm going to move on. Like I said, we're going to jump into unit 11. We're going to talk about discoveries, we're going to talk about inventions, and we're going to jump into another conditional here. We're going to talk about the third conditional. We've already talked about the second, so here's going to be the third. And the third's a little bit easier, but it can be a little bit complicated sometimes, and we'll talk about that. So be able to talk about discoveries and inventions using vocabulary that we'll talk about here in just a second. Use the third conditional and start working on our oral presentation here. Okay, so thinking about inventions, thinking about discoveries. Okay, we're going to jump into our vocabulary on page 70 in your book here. So here's page 70, and when we're thinking about these discoveries and inventions, we're talking about things that we use, to get by in life, things that are innovative, things that are advancing us as consumers. What are things that we think are better and can get better and better as time goes on? Okay, so let's look at exercise 1 here. Okay, if we say, look at these pictures, what things do you see? And then we're going to plug these words in here. Okay, instrument, utensil, appliance, vehicle, gadget, and tool. Things that we use every day, and things that just keep getting better and better as time goes by. Okay, so here we go. It looks like we have some sort of advertisement. We got a sale going on here now, on sale. We got these items down here at the bottom. Okay, so look at these. Here we have a personal air conditioner, which actually looks pretty cool, actually. It keeps you cool anywhere. So this is 139 bucks, a little expensive, but what would we call this? Would we call this an instrument, a utensil, appliance, vehicle, gadget, or tool? Okay, gadget is something that we use for, I don't know, simplifying our life a little bit, to make our lives a little bit better. They're usually small electronic devices that move and have moving parts. So this would be considered a gadget here. So I actually want one of these. Summers in Busan are very hot. Number two is down here at the bottom. iToaster, built-in touchscreen menu. Wow, very good, very cool. Okay, a little expensive. We got $299 here. A toaster, refrigerators, microwave ovens, those would be considered appliances. Appliance. So here's an appliance here. Number three, looks like we have a bicycle. Finally, a hybrid bicycle, real breakthrough. I've seen these on the streets, electronic bicycles. I don't know what's going on here with all of these digital interfaces here. But this is super expensive. Wow. 7,999 bucks. I probably would never buy this. This would be considered a vehicle, something that you use for transportation like cars, trains, buses, taxis, whatever. Down here, okay, looks like we have a hammer, but not just your regular hammer. This is an electric hammer. Get it done fast with this contraption. In case you don't have muscles, you might need to buy this hammer. It's not really expensive either, $59 here. So what are things like hammers and saws and screwdrivers? We call those tools. Okay, so this would be a tool. Number five, interesting. Okay, it looks like we have some these chopsticks here, and they've got some soy sauce perhaps that leaks out of the bottom here. We got little tubes and little bulbs that you can fill with soy sauce and use those. Interesting device here. So what would we consider these? Things that you use to eat, like spoons, forks, knives, chopsticks. We call those utensils. And of course, the last one here, we have a violin. Okay, but not only is it just a violin, it's a violin keyboard too. So wow, very, very cool. You've got a combination of a violin and a keyboard. 449 bucks here. Things like violins, guitars, keyboards, of course we call those instruments. Okay, so number 6 is instrument there. Okay, all right, so those are 6 words that we might use to describe inventions or discoveries, or as you can see here, ways to innovate certain things that we've been using for a long time. Okay, so let's jump down here and get some more words under our belts here. Okay, here we have more words. Complete the chart with the words in the box. Okay, so we have device, creation, development, contraption. This is a word that's not used a lot, but it's still around. Adaptation, breakthrough, advance, and innovation. We're talking about things that are invented. There aren't too many of these words here. So we're talking about things that are invented and words to describe inventions. So how would you describe those? Okay. So this is the easy one. So things that are invented, what would we call those? Well, devices are invented. Contraptions are invented. A creation is invented as well. Okay, those things are all invented. You invent a device, you invent a creation, you invent a contraption. Everything else basically is words to describe an invention. Describe an invention here. So development, okay, it's not necessarily a thing that is invented, but how you describe an invention. An adaptation is making another invention or item better. Breakthrough, we use that to describe something that's new and it's going to change a lot of things. advance, and innovation. Basically, all these advance, innovation, and breakthrough, that's pretty much the same thing. So all those would be considered synonyms there. And if we can consider taking some of these words from exercise 1 and plugging them down here, well, these would all be things that we would consider things that are invented. So we can plug all these, if we wanted to, down here into these things that are invented to make it quite easy for us. Okay. All right, so there are your vocabulary words for Unit 11. And as usual, I've got the answers down here, okay, posted there, so you guys can check those out. Study the words. Again, as usual, please practice the words on page 138 in your books. Okay. Otherwise, study the vocabulary. Make sure that you know those. Okay, full list there as usual. If you don't understand some of these words, jump into your dictionary or Papago or whatever that you use and make sure that you understand those, okay? Okay, let's jump into our grammar point. Okay, we're going to learn about the third conditional. Okay, the third conditional, if we remember our use of the second conditional, we're talking about things that are not real. Okay, they're imaginary. And what was that simple word that we usually use when we're talking about a conditional? If. Okay, so we're going to plug in if and a main clause, and the grammar point is on this PPT, so you don't need to download an extra PPT. Okay, so let's consider the third conditional. Okay, we use the third conditional to talk about past. Okay, we're talking about the past, unreal or imaginary conditions and results. Okay, so now we're going to be using the past. Okay, the if clause introduces past imaginary event or condition. Okay, so the if clause, okay, it's the past imaginary condition. Okay, the main clause expresses the imaginary result. So here we have the event or condition or the situation that's in the past. It's imaginary, it's not real, something that you just think of. And here's might what happened, might be what happens after this imaginary event here. Okay, so if clause is the imaginary event, the main clause is the imaginary result. Okay, so consider an example here like this. If I had left on time, I wouldn't have been late. Okay, so this is the imaginary situation here. If I had left on time. And usually when you think about this, if I had left on time, what really happened? Well, the opposite happened. Okay, the opposite happened. Say, I had left on time. If, no, in this situation, the person did not leave on time. So you consider whatever it says here and think about the opposite is what happened. I wouldn't have been late. Okay, I wouldn't have been late. Okay, if he had given her a gift, she wouldn't have gotten angry. Okay, so again, think about the opposite, and that's what really happened. He had given her a gift. Did he? No, he did not, because this is an imaginary. So he did not give her a gift. Okay, he did not give her a gift, and that is why she was angry. Okay, that is why she was angry there. Okay, so we have to consider the opposite meaning when we're reading these third conditionals here. Okay, a couple other rules. We use the past perfect in the if clause. Okay, the past perfect. We use a modal plus have plus past participle, that's our PP there, in the main clause. Okay, if I had left on time, I wouldn't have been late. Okay, here is our past perfect. Okay, our past perfect is right there. And for the main clause, we have our modal. We talked about modals before. I wouldn't have been late. Okay, so we have our modal plus have plus our past participle there. Okay, so make sure that in the if clause we have our past participle, and in the main clause we have our modal plus have plus our PP. If he had given her a gift, she wouldn't have gotten angry. Okay, please keep in mind that we're using the if clause first, okay, in these situations here. And that's most common all the time. Okay, most common in this situation is the if clause goes first, but not always. Okay, the if clause doesn't have to go first. You can flip them. Okay, so if we do flip them, if let's say if the if clause goes at the end, then we don't use a comma. So think about the commas in this situation here. So the if clause can go before or after the main clause in this situation here. And as we have been using, the if clause goes first. If I had left on time, note the comma here in this situation. We've got the if clause that goes at the beginning. I wouldn't have been late. So if clause first, main clause second. In that situation, we need a comma. If not, if the main clause goes first, she wouldn't have gotten angry if he had given her a gift. In this situation here, we don't need a comma. Okay, we don't need a comma because the main clause goes first. So note the comma. So one more time, if the if clause goes first, then we need a comma. So if clause first, comma, main clause. If the main clause goes first, we don't need a comma in this situation. Okay, so keep that rule in mind as well. Both affirmative, which means plus, okay, positive, both affirmative and negative verbs can be used in the if clause and the main clause. Okay, so they can be used in either. So here is a negative. A negative, of course, means not or means no. If I hadn't left on time, I would have been late. If I hadn't left on time, I would have been late. So here, we changed that previous sentence up a little bit here. If I hadn't left on time, I hadn't left on time. Think of the opposite. So I did leave on time. I would have been late. Okay, I would have been late. If I had left on time, I wouldn't have been late. So here we've got the negative in the main clause. Here we've got the negative in the if clause. So you can use negatives in either the if clause or the main clause in any situation. Okay, does this mean the same thing? If I had left on time, I wouldn't have been late. If I hadn't left on time, I would have been late. The meanings are not the same. So you're going to have to think very carefully how you use these third conditionals. Okay, let's jump to page 72. And we'll look at this a little bit closely here. Let me erase this before I move on here. Okay, so when we look at page 72, here's where it becomes important, where you need to decide whether something is the opposite or not. And it can be difficult sometimes, or it can be easy, I don't know. But again, if you need some extra assistance, if you need some extra help, please go to page 135 in the back of your book. But otherwise, when you're looking at these conditionals here, you're trying to think about the opposite of what is actually happening there. Okay, what is the actual meaning of what it's saying here? So it says we're going to read these sentences and mark the sentences true or false. Okay, now when we think about this here, it says, if I had known about the appliance, I would have tried to get one. Okay, so here, think about it. So take this out. Okay, and think about, I had known about the appliance. I had known about the appliance. Okay, is that true? No, this is not true. Okay, it's the opposite because we have if here. So you get bande, it's the opposite there. Okay, I had known about it. No, this person did not know about it. Okay, so I knew about the appliance. No, that's an imaginary situation there. So of course, this is false. I didn't try to get one. I would have tried to get one. I would have tried to get one. Did this person try to get one? No, they didn't. Okay, because basically this is the opposite here. It's the opposite of bande. Okay, because it's imaginary. So anytime you're thinking of an imaginary situation, it's the opposite. So I didn't try to get one. That is true. Because he didn't know. He didn't know about that. Okay. Tokubok chape, a little bit difficult. Okay, let's see if it becomes easier as we go along. If he hadn't read the report, if he hadn't read the report, he wouldn't have bought a hybrid car. If he hadn't read the report, okay? Let's think about this. What does that mean? Well, take if away and think of the opposite. He hadn't read the report. Did he read the report? Did he? Well, we're thinking about the opposite, igabande. Here is the negative, so what's the positive? He read the report. So this is true. He read the report. Okay, he read the report because that's the opposite. He wouldn't have bought a hybrid car. Okay, again, think of the opposite. He wouldn't have bought a hybrid car. Okay, here's an affirmative, or here's a negative. So the affirmative happened. He didn't buy a hybrid car. Negative, negative, no, this is false. Okay, he did buy a hybrid car. He did buy one. Okay, so again, imaginary situations, think of the opposite. Okay, jump to number 3. You wouldn't have broken the gadget if you'd known how to use it. Okay, we'll see that the if clause is at the end of the sentence this time. So let's take this and let's throw it away. You'd known how to use it. You'd known how to use it. Okay, so here is an affirmative, so think of the negative. Okay, so we'll jump down here. Let's jump down to B here. Okay, so it might make it easier. So you had known how to use it. Think of the opposite. So this person didn't know how to use it. So you knew how to use it. No, the opposite. Okay, if you'd known how to use it. So you knew how to use it. This is false. Okay, you wouldn't have broken the gadget. Okay, think of the opposite. You wouldn't have known, or you wouldn't have broken it. So you wouldn't have broken it. The opposite, you broke it. Okay, you broke it. So yes, he broke it. Ooh, that's a terrible T there. Let me fix that up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so again, think of the opposites. Okay, last one here. If clause is back at the beginning. If we hadn't encouraged her, she might not have sold her invention. Oh, we got 2 negatives in this situation here. 2 negatives. Okay, so let's think of the if clause first. Take that away. We hadn't encouraged her. Okay, we hadn't encouraged her. Think of the opposite. We encouraged her. Okay, this is true. Okay, because we're thinking the opposite, bande. She might not have sold her invention. Okay, she might not have sold her invention. Okay, negative, so think of the opposite, bande. She sold her invention. Okay, so this is true too. Okay, 1, we encouraged her. Okay, 2, she sold her invention. Okay, so again, it might seem a little bit complicated, it might seem a little bit confusing, but again, try to think of the opposites. Okay, here we have a negative, so the affirmative happened. Here we have an affirmative, so the negative happened. You know, so think about that. Okay, think about it. All right, let's jump out here to the second part. The second exercise is basically your responses to that. So how would you respond to something using a second conditional like this? Says complete the statements with your own ideas. If I had studied harder, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If I had studied harder, I would, remember we're using our modal plus have. Let me step back. We can also use a negative in this situation if we need to. Okay, remember it says we can use a negative, so you can say I wouldn't have also. So remember, keep in mind that you can use an affirmative or you can use a negative, but don't forget for our main clause we need to have plus some sort of past participle as well. So a PP, got to plug our PP in there. Okay, so you can think of anything. If I had studied harder, I would have been rich. if I had studied harder, I wouldn't have more time. I wouldn't have had more time to play in later life. So many different things that we can use, and try to use your own ideas for those. Same thing for number 2 and 3. If texting hadn't been invented, I would have, or it wouldn't have. Same thing here. If I hadn't gotten blah 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 last year, here you're going to have to fill in some sort of um, possession, a car, a house, a new bike, a new computer. Plug those in here. Okay, last one. The last one is talking about your grandparents. So in this situation here, we can't use I blah blah blah. You could, but since we're considering grandparents, you might consider like our grandparents' lives would have been easier if they, and then we'll plug this down here, they would or wouldn't have plus PPT. Or you can also consider another situation where it's not necessarily them, but we can plug this in there as well. Our grandparents' lives would have been easier if there wouldn't have been a war, or if there would have been more schools, or if there would have been the internet. So again, we can change that up a little bit and consider our grandparents' lives, okay, instead of just my life. Okay, so consider these instances where we're using the second condition or the third conditional. Okay, and the most important thing is when you're thinking about the third conditional, think about the opposite, because this is the imaginary situation, and in the imaginary situation, what happened is the opposite. Okay, all right, so there you go. That is your third conditional. Okay, and again, if you do have any questions or you need some extra assistance, go to page 135 and that'll help you out. Okie dokie. All right, there you go. Okay, that's it for your third conditional. Okay, unit 11. Okay, so there's your grammar, there's your vocabulary for unit 11. Now let's talk about something important. Okay, something important. Okay, your oral presentation. Okay, we'll do a little bit of practice this week. Okay, a little bit of practice. And let's think about the guidelines in this situation here. Because of the corona, we're going to have to make videos. So the COVID-19 situation creates a different environment for us for these presentations. So we're going to practice 1 week, okay, advance, and make it easy for you guys. And probably be a little bit shy, but you're always like that. So for our oral presentation, we will use our assignment 2, our persuasive essay, as your manuscript. So that's what we're going to be using. Okay, we're going to use this manuscript in order to give a 3-minute presentation. Okay, it's going to be a persuasive speech. So we're just going to take our persuasive essay and we're going to use it to make a persuasive speech. Okay, if your persuasive essay was too short, you might have to add some more sentences to it to make it a little bit longer. Or if your persuasive essay was too long, you might need to shorten it up, take some sentences away. But the goal, our responsibility, is to speak for 3 minutes. Okay, this is our target. 3 minutes is our target. Okay. You must memorize the manuscript. Okay, you want to do your best to try to prepare for this speech. Okay, I don't want you standing up there and reading your document. We don't want to do that. Okay, we want to try to memorize it. You want to try to use it and keep it in your brains. Okay, stick it in your brain. Try to get it in there. It's just like a normal speech, a normal presentation. Okay, you don't want to stand up and read. It's not a reading presentation. It's an oral presentation. If you need to, you can use a PPT or you can use cue cards. You know, little cue cards to help you to remember. But remember, we're looking at a camera, so you want to try to look at the camera as much as possible. Basically, you're looking at me. Okay, so if you have a PPT, you can put the PPT in front of you and you can use that on your notebook or something like that. Okay, we're using the PPT or the cue cards to help your memory, okay, to help trigger your memory there, okay? So you can use a PPT or cue cards to assist you. Here's your time window, okay? This is how I grade you. We want 3 minutes, okay? 3 minutes is our target. I give you a 30-second window. Okay, so if you can get between 2 minutes and 45 seconds and 3 minutes and 15 seconds, there's no penalty. Okay, that's perfect. Get in that window. But if you start getting outside the window, you start losing points. So it's -1 point for every 15 seconds. Okay, so try to stay in this window right here. My suggestion would be to get your manuscript, take it out, read it, and see how long. Use your smartphone, time yourself, see how long it takes to read your manuscript. If it takes you 3 minutes to read your manuscript, you're good. Okay. If it takes you 2 minutes and 30 seconds to read your manuscript, it's too short. You might need to add some more sentences. So time yourself. It's your responsibility to get into this 3-minute window. Okay. All right. You'll be graded on these 6 areas. Okay, eye contact, make sure that you're looking at the camera, okay, most of the time. Your voice, your audio quality, make sure the audio quality is very clear. Okay, I need to be able to hear you, most importantly. Seeing your face is important, but hearing your voice is the most important as well. Pronunciation, preparation, are you prepared? Did you practice and practice and practice? Okay, accuracy. Accuracy means what is on your manuscript should be what you're telling me. Okay, that's what you should be doing. And your target language. Okay, our target language, we've been using that. There are some people who think that, however, in my opinion, I think that, first of all, you know, all the target language, the signals that we use for persuasive. Okay, the video guidelines. Okay, you're making a video. Okay, so how's that going to work? Well, we want to use a white or a bright colored background. So what is behind you? You want to make sure that it is bright. Make sure that it is a lighter color. Take video of the upper body. So basically from your belly button, your pecho, all the way up to the top of your head. So basically this area that you're seeing here for me, okay, that is the area that you're going to be filming. Make sure the room is well lit. Okay, make sure that there is a light in front of you so that I can see your face. I need to see your face clearly. Make sure the video image is clear. Okay, make sure you clean your camera. Make sure it's clear. Please record in 720 or 1080p. Okay. Make sure your audio is clean. Nice, clean audio. Okay. Make sure there's no noises in the background. Don't film yourself at, you know, Lotte Bequajam or, you know, downtown or something like that. Your oral presentation. Okay, this persuasive speech, the deadline is Sunday, June 14th at 11:59 p.m. You will upload your video to the oral presentation folder. Okay, upload your oral presentation. Take your time with it, okay? Go slow. You know, it's not one and done. You can practice many, many times before you upload it. So the deadline is June 14th, okay? And then make sure that it's, you know, it's nice, okay, basically, okay? Do your best. I trust you guys to do your best. If you can't make a video, you know, have a friend help you or whatever, but everybody needs to do this oral presentation. You need to. You must upload your oral presentation manuscript before your video. Okay, so the manuscript is what you're going to use for your oral presentation. And again, your manuscript is your assignment too. Okay, so if you don't make any changes, just upload your assignment number 2 again. Okay, if you make changes to your assignment number 2, like you want to add some things to it, you're going to have to upload that. Okay, upload that. So please upload your oral presentation manuscript to the oral presentation manuscript folder. Okay, like I said, the oral presentation manuscript is going to be due June 7th. Okay, so 1 week before the oral presentation video deadline. Okay. All right, so there's going to be a combination of homework for this week. There's not going to be any conversation. Okay, we're not going to do any surveys or questionnaires. So here's what you're going to do. We're going to practice. This is just practice, Yunsa. We're going to practice doing a little mini oral presentation here based on Unit 11 stuff. Okay, so for our Kakao and oral presentation homework, we're going to answer the following questions and make a video of your response. Okay, so here are the questions. What are some inventions you could not live without? Okay, answer would be I couldn't live without my smartphone, or I couldn't live without my credit card, or I couldn't live without blah 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 blah. Okay, so very simple. Just give me one sentence or two sentences. And then the next one, in your opinion, what do you think is history's greatest invention? Try to use your target language with this. Okay, in my opinion, I think that paper is history's greatest invention. My reason is because with paper, you can learn much information by reading books. Simple. Keep it simple. So basically, answer these questions in about 3-4 sentences. Okay, 3 or 4 sentences. Keep it easy. I don't want it long. Okay, I don't want it long. So what you will do is make a video of your answers. I'm going to check, make sure that the video quality is okay. So, I'm going to look at your background. I'm going to look at your filming, your voice, your audio, and things like that, just as a practice. So it's only going to be about 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, so very short. Again, this is just practice. Answer these questions. Okay, make a video. Finish. Try to use video guidelines I talked about. Again, make sure the background is bright. Make sure that there's light in front of you. Make sure the video is 1080 or 720. Try to use those guidelines. Post the video to the class Kakao. Okay, big videos, you can't post them because they're too large. So keep it really short. Okay, again, 3 to 4 sentences. So post the video to the class Kakao. Use full sentences. Okay, as usual. Try to pretend that this is a real speech. It is just practice, but try to make it count. Okay, it's going to be due May 31st, so next Sunday it's going to be due. Okay, your other homework as well, same as usual. Please practice your reading. Read Delicious Ideas on page 74. Do the exercises. Study vocabulary words from Unit 11 on page 138. Okay, do that as usual. Complete all Unit 11 activities in Smart Choice. Okay. Again, everything is due May 31st. Don't forget to watch your online lecture as usual. Please don't forget those videos. That's very important. All right. Okay, you guys, that's it, everybody. If you have any questions, as usual, please post them to our class Kakao. Let's help each other, and just do your best on the videos. Okay, don't be nervous. I know you'll be a little bit nervous, but try to just calm yourself down. Practice a little bit. This week we're going to practice with our videos, so just do your best, and that's what counts. Okay. All right, you guys. Good luck. Have a nice week, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.